I'm okay with that. Don't let him go out into the market, figure out what he's really worth, because then you're really going to pay. I'm just saying. Any last thoughts
Well,
on this contract?
right. And then the other thing is he also was very important for him to get that contract done now if it was going to be with the 49ers, because once Brock Purdy gets paid, the bank is about to close. And that's why I think we saw the total desperation from everyone to get paid. And might I add, Sourdeath Sam, that's why I think Mooney Ward is just a little bit salty this year, because he knows that they're not opening the Brinks truck for him.
Interesting. Interesting. I never thought of that, but that's very interesting. And I don't doubt it. All right. Well, we've got another stud on our hands. Pearsall that and more. We got Ricky Pearsall continuing to make strides in ways that are putting the league on notice, at least, fantasy football league owners on notice. He nearly doubled his yardage from last week after stacking better and better and better games. If we had any concerns, if he would be gun shy about being on this team, if he would be butterfingers, he's been stepping up and he's been performing. And not only has he been performing, he's ingratiated himself with his teammates already. Obviously, being at the Warriors game last night with Deebo Samuel. I don't think he kicks it with scrubs. So Ricky Pearsall clearly made an impression on these guys in the locker room, now making an impression on the field. Just want to get your thoughts. Obviously, with the absence of Brandon Ayuk, we were going to wonder, and frankly, before the season started, we were beginning to start to formulate in our heads, what does a 49ers team look like without either Deebo or Ayuk? It was the inevitable reality that we felt we were faced with. And now that we have Pearsall in, what's your perspective on what he's given us thus far, what he adds to the team, and how does this dynamic currently work in the absence of Brandon Ayuk?
So I'll answer your question in 2 seconds because I got two questions for you first. One, do you have a ghostwriter?
I do not.
Okay. So this is all just from the fly because
Yeah.
you go through and there are a lot of subtle jokes that you say very straight face that I'm not sure if people catch, but
Yeah,
they're really funny.
I talked. I was a talker in class, and so this stuff just comes naturally.
Okay, got it. And then number two, has anybody ever told you're like the Kevin Wildes of how you kind of start these topics and set them up?
No, but someone did. Someone did comment on our curls, so I'll pull that comment up when you respond. Oh yeah. By the way, someone says you've got better curls than me. I wanted to bring up that comment, and I felt like this would be a
I'm a
good
little
time.
bit younger than you. I think that helps.
Yeah. Your curls would be flat like mine in no time, kid. But
My dad's bald, so they might not even exist in
oh
no
God,
time.
dude, I'd never, dude. Don't put that curse on you. But it's
Yeah,
not about
knock on
you. It's
wood.
not about me. We're talking about Ricky Pearsall, baby.
Yeah,
So
let's get back to Ricky. Let's get back to Ricky.
what are your thoughts, man?
So my thoughts on Ricky is he's really good. Like he's good. And I think the best part of Ricky is the some of the catches that he hasn't had the opportunity yet. Like his route running is really, really on point. There was one early in the game that Brady highlighted on a comeback. And if you see how smooth he is sitting down and coming out of his break, like he gets pretty low and he comes out of his break pretty fast. Like Ricky's good. And then I don't know about you, Sourdeath Sam. I didn't know he could go like that after the catch. Like when he caught the ball, I thought, okay, he's going to make a big play after the catch. I didn't think he's going to go score a touchdown. I think that when you catch the ball over the middle of the field and you're full speed, being able to score a touchdown, that those are the little things to me that separate a good receiver and then is the guy a number one receiver, right? And the question with Ricky Pearsall is, does he have the talent to be a number one receiver? There's a ceiling to him. They shouldn't have drafted him at 30. Well, how many guys do you know that are hop stepping Antoine Winfield Jr. and then out racing him to the pylon on pure acceleration? So I think they really got something. It's funny to talk about him because it's almost like they got two things because Juwan Jennings is just over here and nobody knew that the
I
49ers have
agree.
a total stud for a number one wide receiver. He gets open versus everybody. He catches everything. He's great after the catch. And now they have like this great duo, and it doesn't include Deebo Samuel, who's still a good player. Doesn't include Brandon Ayuk, who had a horrific knee injury and is a great player. Instead, it's Ricky Pearsall and Juwan Jennings, who expected that to start the season.
Totally. And the one thing that I was always hoping for as we were kind of going through our slump just before the bye is I kept hoping that Ricky Pearsall was going to enter the fray and inject a level of energy, almost in the sense that he very well could be one of the missing identity pieces that we were searching for all along. Because Brandon Ayuk was still finding his footing. And look, this is the post get your bag contract dispute curse, right? It is inevitable. It almost feels like we still haven't seen Nick Bosa the way I want to see him. But with Ayuk, it just felt like he was doing all the right things. He was just kind of we were waiting for it to click into gear. It just never did. And with Pearsall, my thought was, well, what if he comes in and just like a bat out of hell in the cloak of a stealth plane, just shoots through the middle of the season, and people go, where the fuck did this guy come from? And everyone goes, oh yeah, remember they drafted them first. You just didn't see him in the preseason or the beginning of the season because he got shot. You know what I mean? And it's like, it was such a surprise. And obviously it's such a big story now because every time he scores a touchdown, you know, every announcer of CBS or Fox, whatever, is going to go, Ricky Pearsall, yeah, you know, just a few months ago, he was shot in San Francisco. Now he's scoring touchdowns. Like, yeah, we get it. But let's just talk about the fact that maybe he is exactly who Kyle Shanahan thought he was. Maybe he is a sound blocker. Maybe he is an extraordinary route runner. And maybe he is the guy who, I remember when we first drafted him, I was really upset. I don't know where my head was. I was just really bummed out with the pick. I just totally crashed out. And then I sort of retracted everything I was saying as I began to like calm down, breathe, understand that we were going to get, you know, Ricky, you know, DeJean, whatever. And I was just going to have to sit and admire this new body of work. And frankly, he's kind of developing exactly the way I hoped he would, where he's contributing seamlessly. He's ingratiating himself with a team where it really feels like the chemistry in that wide receiver room has just been augmented. And I'm really, really excited to see how we can continue to build on his progress, because if he turns out to be a dog the way I know he can be, then we've got a really good problem on our hands with our wide receiver room as far as figuring out where to go next.
Yeah, and just a last thought on him. I think the best thing about him is a lot of people talk about timing and cadence to an offense, and they talk about it from a quarterback's perspective, but it's also really important from a receiver's perspective. And that's why, not to bring up Brandon Ayuk, over the years, I've become very resentful when people take Brandon Ayuk's routes in a 49ers game and isolate them and say, oh, look at all these different times he's getting open. And I'm talking about a certain uninformed public that does that. And the reason that's annoying is because there's certain times where he gets open and it's posted. They're like, oh, BA was wide open, but there's no friggin' way the quarterback could have gotten it to him from where his feet are, where he was looking, where the timing of the play is. So why are you posting that? Who cares that he juked out the guy on the backside of the plate? It had nothing to do with anything. And Ricky Pearsall's timing and cadence of his routes within this offense, for a guy that had an abbreviated offseason for the shoulder injury and got shot, as you mentioned, it's pretty amazing. He's got, Greg Cosell called it snappy. And I think when he called it snappy, he meant he's explosive. But within that explosiveness, he also has a rhythm where he comes open right on time. Good example of this is versus outside leverage at the end of the game on the last drive, the big in that he runs, he snaps open right on time. He has a great timing and cadence to his route running. That's something Debo didn't necessarily pick up until later on in this offense, especially funnily enough, because he started as a rookie. So it's a very subtle but impressive thing. And I agree with you. All the reasons why people were upset that the 49ers drafted Ricky Pearsall. Oh, low ceiling. He's too much of a technician, not enough like physical gifts. Those are the reasons why they're okay at receiver, because this guy's able to come in day one and play like this in week 9 or week 10.
Yeah. And if we
Not
can
a lot of guys would have been able to do that in this offense.
and if we can capitalize on the yak like we did against the Bucks, I mean, we're in business, because that is very potent stuff.